Okay, I want to give you about 9 common circuit symbols, and I want to give you a brief description of what they are or do. I say about 9 because once I start talking, I never can tell if I'm going to keep going. So, let's do wire first. Wire is pretty straightforward. It's a line. That's it. That's wire. If you have 2 wires that cross each other, they'll draw them just like that. Sometimes you might see a little dot there to show that they do connect. And if you have wires that don't cross, what I often see is this, and just that gap right there represents that they don't touch. However, sometimes you'll also see this. If they don't touch, then they'll draw like a little loop thingy right here to represent that they don't touch. So there's a wire. That's our conductor. We usually consider that the resistance of a wire is 0. That's not, strictly speaking, that's not true. Wire has some resistance, but it's usually pretty darn small, so we tend to ignore it. Next, a switch. How do we draw a switch? It's some wire. Here's a circle, another circle, and some wire. And then we usually draw the switch like this. Okay, this switch right now is off. Or if you were an electronics person, you would say this is an open switch, or an open circuit. If you drew it like this, if you drew the line, this little switch bar thingy, if you drew that down like this, then it flows, the current flows, so the circuit would be on, and we call that a closed circuit. Okay? A battery. Well, if you have just a 1.5 volt battery, and this is the positive side, this is the negative side, this is really just one cell. If you have like a 9 volt battery, it's got like several cells hooked together inside of it to give it more voltage. So that's actually a real battery, because battery means a bunch of cells. But either way, that's the symbol for a battery. Let's go down to a light bulb. I've seen some people represent a light bulb as a circle with like a curly Q in it, and I've seen other schematics where they have light bulbs represented with an X in it. Either way, it's a light bulb. How about a resistor? A resistor gets this ziggity-zaggity line here. And I have also seen resistors like represented as just like a box, kind of a box-shaped thing, but I think I definitely prefer the zigzag line just because that's what I've always seen. Ground, you got some wire, and if you want to give your current a place to get back to the starting point or back to the earth, you draw this. That's the ground. A fuse. You've got some wire, and what you do, it looks a lot like a switch, but it usually gets drawn like that. And a fuse is a really skinny little chunk of wire. And the reason it's skinny is because if too much current flows through it, this melts. And when it melts, then it becomes like an off switch. And why would you want to do that? You would want to do that because you want to protect the expensive stuff in your circuit, like computer chips or light bulbs or whatever. So a fuse is designed to break on purpose. Capacitor. Some wire here, and a capacitor is just 2 big metal plates. And they're designed to hold a little bit of energy. Why would you want to do that? If you've got some kind of a circuit where you need to store up a little bit of extra energy, so you'll need it when the current is low, the capacitor can do that for you. Sometimes if the direction of the way you wire it matters, then you'll see one of them has kind of this curve to it, but that's not something we'll talk about in this class. A diode. Let's say you've got some electricity buzzing along through a wire, but you don't want it to go a certain direction. You only want the current to go a certain way. So you put in this little doohickey called a diode, and it's a triangle with a bar. So the neat thing about a diode is that it lets current go this way, but if you were current trying to go the other way, boom, you'd hit this wall here, and you would not be allowed to continue. So that's a drawing for a diode. Now, there is other stuff that I could add here, like the symbol for a motor might just be an M, or maybe like an amp meter if you got some kind of a meter. There's lots of different stuff you could put in a circuit. There's more things than I could do here, but this is going to be plenty for this class.